You're still watching Ways. Now, the fourth Wednesday in January offers a unique opportunity for book lovers on Library Shelfie Day. Some collectors of books tend to arrange their collections so their spines can be admired pleasantly. Others have a system of organization that results in an alternative art form. However, our books are organized on the shelf. They are meant to be photographed and shared on social media on this day. So Library Shelfie Day offers bookstores, libraries, schools, and individuals an opportunity to express their reading preferences through a single photograph. Whether they frame their favorite authors, titles, genre, or cover art, readers share a bit of their library in creative ways, with or without dust jackets, signed and unsigned, and in mint condition, bibliophiles and love books. Yes. So all kinds of books. Today is the day you're supposed to take a picture and post it on social media. I have plenty of books that I've bought. I've not opened it. God help me.
That's what we tend to do these days, isn't it?
Right.
We buy tons and tons of books. So I love books, and you know, at one point I had told myself, you need to stop buying books. If you're not reading them or you don't find time to read them, then why buy them? But then I do the same thing. As much as I say I don't like ebooks, I will find an ebook and then I'll save it, and I still haven't made time to get rid. So it's me even realizing this year that I said, you know what, if you're going to read this book, so if you're going to talk about books, then you have to find time. You have to make time rather than not find time.
I think I want to start looking for options of audiobooks, so that, because most times I'm actually, in Lagos, you spend a long time driving in traffic and all of that. You can actually just play an audiobook and it's running. It's still the book.
I think my problem with audiobooks is I find that I tune out. So 5 minutes down, I'm like, what did he just say?
How did we get here?
Yeah, and then I find myself going
Also,
back.
what's your preference for books?
Either. It doesn't have to be hard copy or soft copy. It's just catch my interest when I open it. So if I do first page and it doesn't hit, I'm very likely to drop it forever.
So I should first page.
Yeah.
So,
but currently I'm reading, or I got a book that I hope to have enough time to read, because like you said, time is the real issue right now. And it's Insanely Simple by Ken Segal. So it sort of documents Apple's strategy in terms of being simple and in their marketing and their products. So I'm really hoping that I can find enough time to read that book. I started, right? Well, yeah. So
Apple
that's what I'm
products
reading.
are simple?
Yeah.
Interesting. Are they?
Yeah, the marketing is quite simple.
Marketing, yes. I don't
Products
know
are
about the
simple as well.
products.
The design, look at the designers and everything. There's a
Relative.
simplicity that comes with it.
Awesome. Okay, so what do we do today? What did we find? Let me start with Uti, because you have a very long story.
Mine is peaceful
Yes.
Elsie. So,
Or should we start with peace first? Let's start with peace.
Yeah.
before you scatter it, I mean. Yeah, I'm even here to scatter it with you. So this got my attention. I decided to take it because I mean, if you watch this, if you've been following this show, you know that my mom is late, and one of the games we used to play together is Ludo and then what, right? Since she went, I don't think I've ever played Ludo with anyone, ever. I'm hoping that I can break that someday soon. But there's going to be a Ludo championship in Nigeria, expected to hold from the month of February to June of 2022. The organizers of the event told News Agency of Nigeria that the competition will focus on youth development and capturing the interest of lovers of the game. So there will be a preliminary section of the tournament, which will hold in various local government areas, and then the winners will come up to the state level. So I'm very curious to see how that will play out, and I'm hoping that they really go through with it and not just putting out press releases and then the plan dies down there. So I'm just curious about it because of the attachment I have with it. So yeah.
Board games is very dear to my heart because before, up until 2020, I organized the biggest board games across West Africa.
Blow it.
Yes, I have
trumpets. Yes, we here.
Where we gathered thousands of children. So I think the highest we've had, I think it's about 3,000 children. We've done that, but what I realized again with all of this board games tournament is when you go to approach corporate bodies for sponsorship, they tell you that there's no ROI, they don't like sponsoring things that has to do with kids and all of that. So I am hoping
that this one goes through, right?
No, I'm hoping that, first of all, they begin to see the benefits because it's beyond just ROI. What board games does, like I organize 3 games, chess, Scrabble, and the Ayolopon, the local game. And I know how it has transformed all the winners, the children, even the players, because we put it very standardized. we match our board games with whatever it is that you have in the world. But the challenge is and when you don't get funding, these things come off my pocket, and I know how I feel very broke afterwards, you know. So I had to put a pause on it until I hammer. Then I'll
I think
go
it's
back
also
again.
about the kind of people you approach because if you're looking at companies that at this point they have a target in terms of downloads, in terms of revenue, they might not see it from that angle. But if you see those who are already up there and they just want to have an impact based on their CSR budget, yes, they will look at it.
Well, we're hoping to find them, but you know, I'm
Very
just telling
few.
you that very few.
Those that have the kinds of budget that you would need, very few.
They're not ready to
in the space
support.
that CSR is a thing. It's still not the thing.
It's not the thing.
So it might be difficult. But what I find most interesting about the story is I'm trying to think about the game of Ludo. I'm thinking, is it strategic? I mean, I haven't played Ludo.
Ludo is a very you must be calculative when you're playing that game.
I haven't played it in very many years. So I'm trying to remember the dice. So for me, in my mind, it's like a thing of chance. But
yes, it is a thing of chance as well. But your movement is also important. For these people too, I think they are looking for sponsors. I mean, I don't know them. Right? I just saw it.
Telling you.
I think one of the reason they even push out this press release is to call people.
That's
to
what I'm saying, Elsie, to you.
And I really hope so. If you want to sponsor them, go and Google them and look for them, right?
So that's where I'm saying that the biggest challenge I know they would have in terms of it's sponsorship.
Which is why I said I'm hoping that they actually go through.
Well, I hope so too.
Yeah.
Uti, your story.
So my headline reads: NAFDAC bans registration of alcoholic drinks in sachets and PET bottles. It actually does include glass bottles as well, even though it doesn't mention that in the headline. So the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, will no longer be registering manufacturers who are producing alcoholic drinks at alcoholic level of 30% alcohol by volume. That essentially ceases. So all those, now when you're driving early in the morning, you see those women who are selling, all sorts of sachets and bottles.
Faraga.
Yeah, exactly. And this thing, exactly. It wasn't so common. I think it was the first one that started it. What was that drink?
Alomo bitters.
It wasn't even Alomo. There was one that came before.
There was a bitters, Sha.
Yeah. So and it seems like those things have taken on a life of its ones. And I guess it's market demand.
The ones you're mentioning,
they had alcohol in them.
Avoid trying to mention the brand name, but those ones actually came because they wanted to compete with foreign brands that started having sachet as well.
Well, but I mean, the thing is now, when you're providing it in an accessible volume, in those smaller volumes, so 200 ml is the target at which whatever it is not being
So let me
registered.
tell you how this thing works. Whether they put it in the sachet or they put it in the bottle, these guys at the garages will still drink it.
Well, so that's where I'm coming to. So that's why this story for me stood out, that they're essentially doing this because they want to
reduce, curb
the recklessness around alcohol, access for underage drinking, all of that they want to curb, which is great on the surface. Remember I talked a few weeks ago about the tax on sugary beverages. So again, your heart is in the right place. But the thing for me is, if you're not going to manage the entire chain, right? If there's a demand in the market will find a way to meet that demand. So if I am no longer able to buy these things in sachets, and I know this is a ban currently on new registrations. Existing registrations are going to be phased out by 2024. So the manufacturers of these drinks agreed to cut production by 50% back in January of 2020. And so this is, flowing to a complete phase out in 2024. But the bigger question for me, like Uwa said, is, what are you going to do to manage that gap that is being created? We've always been in the
gap of alcohol drinking.
No, we've always been in the, I forget the word now, that the type of economy where we're doing things in little pieces and things. There's nothing that stops those women from buying the whole big bottle.
No,
and they sell in short, tying it.
I wanted for you to be done.
Yeah.
Because you were being concerned about them, but I'm telling you that I wanted to say that they will go back to what they used to do before. Because what they do is, yes, now you take it, or they even have this
shot glass. Yes, the shot glass.
You buy your piece, drink it,
and you move on. Exactly. So, how, if the goal is to protect people and stop underage drinking and manage the health of the citizenry in total.
So the kid
are you going to Stop it. How are you going to do that? And that's the bigger question for me. So it's a step in the right direction.
Oh, fantastic step in the right direction, but they have to find a better strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of these guys are actually dependent on this. Most of the bus
their
drivers.
Morning starts
it is their morning start, it is their afternoon start, it is their evening start.
Age that you're targeting. I
No.
don't understand your own in the
No.
Well, no, she's talking about a particular segment.
I know, but
that's where you see these things in high demand. Most garages. All right, so my story is actually interesting. Lagos gets 2 new universities, merges colleges of education. The Lagos State Governor, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, said that the state government will merge Adediran Ogunsanya College of Education, Ijaniki, and the Michael Otedola College of Primary Education, Ekpe, to form a University of Education. The governor also said that the Lagos State Polytechnic Ikorodu will become a University of Science. He disclosed this while speaking as special guest of honor during the public presentation of a book. So, long and story short, the governor said that 2 universities will take off following the approval by the National University Council. He gave assurance that the state government will not, because of additional responsibility, fail to adequately fund its existing tertiary institutions. So I just have one question to ask. Do we think that this is a right move? Because I still believe that we need polytechnics. We need technical schools. You don't have to convert them to university. But you see, because of this superiority power play that happens between university graduates and polytechnic graduates, you think that you don't need these people. In some climes, polytechnics are the brightest brains that even can get into the cut of university is just child's play. Because for what we're looking for, yes, they are merging it and converting it. No. There's a particular polytechnic he mentioned.
The polytechnic in Ikorodu is coming University of Science.
Oh, University of Science.
The polytechnic in Ikorodu becoming a university. It doesn't have to happen that way. That is not how you progress. Technical schools are there for a reason. They are there because we have technical needs, right? These people are hands-on. University is just head knowledge.
Sorry, there's nothing that says that the University of Science cannot be it cannot be technicalized if there's a word like that. Like what Futo is doing, there's Futa, and they're one of the top ranking universities when it comes to tech in Nigeria, right? But for me, when I was reading that story, what stood out for me, maybe that was why I didn't get to the polytechnic part, is the education part, because we have a multifaceted issue when it comes to education, and I'm not saying this is going to solve it, but we've also always had that lower tier attitude towards what comes out of our college education that is even supposed to now feed the educational sector. So if you're taking it a bit higher, I'm expecting that the standard will be higher, getting into that platform or the school will also be higher, and we'll probably get better teachers or better educators from that space. That's where I am looking at it.
The question I wanted to ask was, the courses typically offered in a college of education are not, so those qualifications are not typically the BScs, the BAs and things that we ascribe to a university. So what's happening to that? When you merge these schools and convert it to a university, are those courses, because we have a problem in the education sector, so are those courses now getting a better type of qualification, or so it's just the understanding of what
I think what will happen, because what really happens is if you come out of a college of education and you do really well, you can actually get into a polytechnic or rather a university from 200 level. Right. So I'm sure, I'm hoping that
all
there
of
will
that
be
work
an upgrade.
that you've done only takes you a year in.
Yeah, so there will be like an upgrade to what the syllabus or curriculum.
You guys are still missing my point, but we need to take.
No, I agree.
There are two
the importance of vocational study cannot be.
No, you don't even get my. Even that University of Education, you don't have to convert it. It can still be a college of education. What we are asking for rather is upgrade the standards, right? The criteria for you to go into that college of education should not be somebody that is patching 3 WAEC results together, because that's what you see. People that do not make it in WAEC, they don't make their JAM, they go into colleges of education. Before they graduate, they are able to write it again and merge results. I'm saying that do not, because whether you convert it to University of Education or not, the standard is what we are concerned about. It's not the name that is the problem.
No, definitely,
it's the standard.
It will have to change the standard.
Well, let's hope so. We'll take a break now. When we return from the break, we need to bring in our guests. We've overshot our time. Stay with us. We'll be right back.